Hello my dear friends, hope you all be fine and doing well. Thank you so much for joining me again. Thank you so much for joining in your channel. My dear friends, today I am telling you about another video. This video is also very fantastic and interesting. So this video is the last video of Scotch Gambit. So in this video I am telling you all the important lines that you can play in Scotch Gambit and your opponent when he is playing against your opening. So this one is very fantastic and interesting. After completion of this opening and this video, you will understand all the important things and lines about the Scotch Gambit. So my dear friends, we are starting our opening by pushing the pawn into e4. So this is the main lines. In the previous videos I told you how you are playing all the main lines in here. So your opponent is taking the pawn, so you are taking the bishop out. So in here the main lines and the Scotch Gambits starts. So my dear friends, I told you about different lines. For example, if your opponent takes the bishop into b4, if your opponent takes the bishop into c6, and also if your opponent brings the knight into f6. In these three lines, in these three variations, I told you everything in details. If you didn't watch, please go and watch previous videos of Scotch Gambit. But this is the last video. In this last video I am telling you that, for example, if your opponent is not playing the main lines, so taking out the bishops and knight is the main lines. For example, if your opponent is not interested to play the things you want, so he is playing, for example, there are other moves also available in here and your opponent can play these openings as well. For example, some players, they are pushing the pawn into d6. So when you are facing with this situation, this is not the main line. So especially in these situations, the best move here for you as a white pieces is to take a pawn in the center. So it would be the best option for you. For example, if your opponent takes back your knight, so definitely you have the option. So in this situation, it is a very good position for white pieces, so there is not anything to worry. So you are slightly better in this position, and also you have this opportunity to go to castle, and also you have this opportunity. See, in here you have lots of good options in here. This is a very good position for white pieces. My dear friends, this is the main lines, and I told you that if your opponent plays different moves, how you can react on that. In such a situation, for example, if your opponent plays bishop to e7, so in such a position you should not worry about that, because you are also having lots of good options. Some players, they are playing bishop into e7 because maybe they don't know the main lines, or in somehow they are going to confuse you. But in such a situation, you should not lose your temper, and you should not think with yourself that the moves that we wanted, our opponent didn't go. So those are were the lines that I told you. But in here you should not worry, and you have very good options and good positions. So the best move in here, if you face with this situation, you should push the pawn into c3. So when your opponent is taking the pawn, so you have the best move in here, and you should threaten your opponent to check. You should give this threatening to check and mate. So are you able to see, my dear friends? So there is not other way to protect this one. So your opponent simply wants to protect this checkmate and taking his knight into h6. So by his surprise, you have this brilliant move. You should immediately take the knight. If your opponent takes your bishop, so you have this checkmate. So in this situation, your opponent has this option to go castle, small castle. When your opponent goes to castle, it's not good to come back. So the best move in here is to take the. So my dear friends, this is another line. I told you that if you push the pawn, this is the best move in here. Your opponent is taking. So the best move in here is placing your queen into d5. So you are threatening your opponent to checkmate. So your opponent has only one option, to go to h6. So when your opponent went to h6, so you have this brilliant attack, and you should replace it with your bishop. So your opponent is not able to take it because you have this checkmate. So he has option to go castle. So when your opponent went castle, the best move in here is to take the pawn into g7. So when you are taking the pawn into g7, so your opponent is taking back. So now you have this position. So therefore it is a very good move. So in here your opponent has another option, and that is uh, placing the knight into b4 and attacking your queen, and also has this nice attack. So simply you can come back to d1. So my dear friends, in here the best move is taking the pawn. For example, if you don't take the pawn in here g7, so what will happen? So some players, they are coming back to here to c1. So in this situation your opponent has a very good attack on your queen and this square, so pushing the knight into h4. So now your queen is under attack, and also he has this fantastic move here, also can take one of your pieces here. So the best move, as I told you, is you should take the knight and you should have a good move in here. So my dear friends, this is all about the different lines you can play against this opening, and I'm just showing you again how you can play these moves with yourself, with your opponents, either online or offline. So it was one move here, I told you this line, another line here, also I told you how to play against this line. If your opponent takes out the knight to f6, how to play with that opening also I told you. And also, for example, if your opponent is pushing the pawn to d6, I told you how to play that. And for example, in rare situations, some players, they are taking bishop into e7. So in here you knew how to play with this opening. So therefore this is the main line for Scotch gambit, and I'm not telling the other lines because these are the most common lines that you can play with your opponents. So it is not that much difficult, and you should think critically with yourself, and you should analyze the entire game. And this is the last video of this opening. Hope you understood this opening carefully. Thank you so much friends for watching, and wait for another videos that I'm going to create in upcoming.